Interestingly, there's a disproportionate impact on women. Women are about 15% of the active duty workforce, but they're 30% of the discharges under Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I think we all understand there's been a well-publicized need for military personnel. We've had to lower the age, we've had to lower the recruiting standards. We issue, interestingly, what are called moral waivers. We accept felons, people with criminal records into the military because we've had trouble meeting our recruiting needs. It's obviously imposed a heavy reliance on the Guard and Reserves, and you're all familiar with the multiple deployments and extended deployments that put stresses on our military. Eliminating Don't Ask, Don't Tell would open up tens of thousands of more eligible people, and you'd stop kicking out 600 to 1,000 people a year, and we'd no longer lose those people who voluntarily leave the military as well. And every one of those people who are either kicked out or leave voluntarily is a loss of a lot of experience and training and talent that can't easily be replaced by a recruit out of boot camp or a nugget officer out of OCS or the academy. Okay, what leads me to advocate that we can repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell and it not be a problem? Well, first is public support. Last CNN poll conducted last year found 81% of the population was in favor of allowing gays to serve in the military, honestly or openly. A previous CNN poll done a couple of years before that, the figure was 79%, but more interesting in that poll, when they stratified it by age and looked at the 18 to 29-year-old age group of Americans, 91% of young Americans thought that gays should be allowed to serve honestly in the military. There are a lot of civilian agencies that have military-like functions. I'm talking about police forces, fire departments, the CIA, the defense, the DEA, the FBI, the Secret Service, do not have restrictions on gays serving honestly. And you think about fire departments, for example. It's not combat, but obviously it's life-threatening missions, police departments as well, where you rely on your buddy for safety, to get your job done. You share birthing facilities, you share bathroom facilities, you share showers and locker rooms, et cetera. They don't have a problem with it. Why does the military have a problem with it? Or think it has a problem with it? And then we look at our foreign military allies. Nearly all of our allies allow gays to serve honestly, including all our English-speaking allies, including the Brits, who we're fighting shoulder to shoulder with in Iraq. They don't have a problem with gays serving openly. And the Israelis. Who in the right mind would think that the Israeli Defense Force would have a problem with combat readiness, yet they allow gays to serve openly and have for many years. None of those civilian agencies or foreign militaries reports any significant problems with gay, lesbians, or bisexuals serving openly. In particular, there was no degradation in operational readiness or effectiveness. There are no significant issues with privacy from the showers and bathroom facilities, workspaces, sleeping quarters, et cetera. And there were no reported significant issues with sexual harassment or misconduct. What about our own military? Well, we used to allow gays to serve openly until Don't Ask, Don't Tell was passed. Stop-loss orders in previous conflicts, including the first Gulf War, allowed gays and lesbians to serve. They were not kicked out when we needed that manpower. And currently, and this is the nugget of my strongest point, we have many gays and lesbians, thousands of gays and lesbians serving now openly, or at least with the knowledge of their peers, and sometimes even with the knowledge of their commands. How do we know that? 2006 Zogby International poll of Iraq and Afghanistan war veterans found the following interesting facts. 23% of the troops say they know for certain that there are gays in their own unit. And the majority of those folks said that knowledge is widely known by everybody else in the unit. Another 45% of the troops said they suspect that there are gays in their own unit. And 73% of the troops said they're comfortable working with gay peers. So here you have 2/3 of the military, or at least the Iraq and Afghanistan war veterans in this poll, said they either know or suspect they're gays in their own unit, yet our military is functioning just fine. There are no significant issues of combat readiness or unit morale, unit cohesion. Let me skip over these in the interest of time, but here's a summary of the evidence. We have a critical need for military personnel. We've got popular support among Americans. That doesn't really count in the military mind, but it does count in Congress where the law has to be repealed. You've got the experience of our allies. You've got the experience of civilian agencies that have combat-like missions. You've got the experience of the U.S. military in previous conflicts, and you have the experience now of our own military with 2/3 of the troops saying they either know or suspect there's gays serving among them. There's been a couple of interesting studies done. First of all, a couple of years ago, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs, John Shalikashvili, published a statement saying he believes gays can serve openly in the military now and it wouldn't be a problem. Last year, you had a flag officer study group who actually conducted some hearings and looked into in some detail, including interviewing witnesses on this issue. They concluded that gays could serve openly in the military without it being a problem. Then you had a flag officer letter signed by 104 flag officers in 2008 who advocated gays being allowed to serve openly in the military. And what happened after these slides were prepared, I think most of you know this week, there was 1,000 flag officers on the other side of the issue that wrote a letter to President Obama saying, don't change the policy. Politically, and there is a bill introduced in the House of Representatives called the Military Readiness Enhancement Act that basically removes sexual orientation as a bar to service in the military. And you have support from the Commander-in-Chief. White House website basically advocates for repealing of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, following discussions with the Joint Chiefs, and that's where the politics come into play. Bottom line, without Don't Ask, Don't Tell, all it would simply mean is gays and lesbians, bisexuals could serve their country under the exact same rules and regulations as apply to every other service member. That's all it means. The military already has the leadership and the regulations in place to deal with misconduct, misbehavior. Those regulations that apply to heterosexuals would also apply to homosexuals. And I think in the interest of time, we'll not go through some of these resources. Thank you. I look forward to the discussion.